there are a lot of things that appear to be perfect and wonderful from the outside, but then when you step a bit closer on the inside, you realize that it is not what it appears to be.
Suddenly went to the loft and he saw all this weapon. Where does all this weapon come from? In the loft.
Their parents are pastors and ministers, and they have to also protect that image, and that can be more detrimental.
Bad company corrupts good manners. You see, so the enemy would send some bad company, especially in the area of the school. Children spend a lot of time in the school environment, so that's one of the platform that the enemy sort of tends to use to bring friends that will make it seem to them like they're missing out a lot of things.
I've been in classrooms where in sixth form where the teacher tell me, look, biology, chemistry is not for you.
Wow.
You should go and do sports science like the other youngsters from your community. And that was a teacher who actually said that to me in sixth form.
If the person has the superpower to be able to see things exactly from where that young person is seeing or experiencing, that would help a lot in terms of how they can then address the issue.
Welcome to Wisdom for Exploit with me, Bola Amure. Today we have another educative discussion with my guest. Before we dive into this discussion, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel to get notified on our new videos. Thank you. So my guest, could you please introduce yourself before we dive into the topic for today?
Yeah. So my name is Kirkland McKay, and I'm really honored to be on this podcast. And just to share a bit in terms of my background, I'm an ordained minister, and I've worked with young people for over the last 10 years. I've supported youth within the communities in Leighton, in Newham, in Westminster and Camden areas. I've also served in different local churches where I've supported young people to accept the Lord's calling on their life and also to change their current way of living. I've worked with young people who were affiliated with gangs. I've also worked in collaboration with the London Metropolitan Police to support these young people back into employment and to help them to find new meaning and new purpose for their lives. And also I've done some youth work in Jamaica as well in my younger years.
Wow.
Where I've helped to shape and to support young people to accept the Lord as their personal savior and to also carry on the journey of becoming stronger believers as well. So in a nutshell, that's me. And also I work as a registered manager in Westminster Council, where I support mainly older people, but from time to time I do also support younger people as well. And I have completed my BSc in operations management. So yeah, that's my background.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome to this talk show. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Over to you, my other guest.
All right. Thank you for having me. My name is Isaac Jemfi, also an ordained minister. I've been in the ministry for about 7 years now, getting to 8 years. And I'm one of the ministers in our ministry called More of Christ Ministries, based in Tilbury Town. In terms of youth, in the past years, I used to be one of the youth service leaders when myself and family used to live back in Germany. So I have a bit of experience, also being the firstborn as well, a bit of experience growing up around young people, and also what it means to be an example, importance of being an example for them to follow. In terms of educational background, I've finished a degree in theology, and it was an interesting experience because it did sort of open my eyes or my mind in some things that we wouldn't normally consider in our usual circle. So it made me see some things outside the box, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. It's my pleasure and my honor to be among this podcast today.
Thank you so much, my wonderful guest. Thank you. I'm so happy to have you on this podcast this afternoon. Yeah, today's topic, we're going to be looking at why are Black boys more likely to join gangs compared to ethnic background or compared to other ethnic background. So we'll be looking at this factor that contribute the Black boys joining gangs, because I had a story, and this is a pastor. I mean, thank God I'm interviewing pastors, young pastor, youth pastor.
Yeah.
And this guy, according to the story, the dad is a pastor, and he's bringing on this weapon home. The daddy didn't even notice it, so he was putting it in the loft, and they didn't notice that. So one day they said the guy went to school, and the dad came back home. He was looking for something, and he was searching all the house. Everybody was gone to school. I mean, the mom has gone out. When he came back from work, I think he was looking for something, and suddenly went to the loft and he saw all this weapon. Where does all this weapon come from? In the loft. So this is a boy that lives with the parents. We're not looking at single parent now or relationship. Because there's some of these people that are in proper marriage, nice background, well brought up, and at the end of the day, they still decide to tread on that path. What do you want to say to that?
Well, I'm actually very passionate about this one.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are a lot of factors that can contribute to that. So, and I'm going to touch on something that Isaac mentioned earlier on. So, we talk about the soil and whatever is planted, the seed that is planted needs the right environment to grow. So there's one thing planting that seed, there's another thing having the right environment. Now, there are a lot of things that appear to be perfect and wonderful from the outside, but then when you step a bit closer on the inside, you realize that it is not what it appears to be.
Sure.
So there are some family structures and some marriages that looks very stable, it looks very fruitful, it looks flourishing. However, when you go into the inner courts, you realize that actually the environment is actually not good.
Yeah.
And it's toxic, but individuals just put on an image to make it seem as if like everything is fine and to keep up appearances. So, and that for me is even more dangerous, because it means then that child is in a toxic environment, and also they're forced to then pretend as if everything is okay as well when they rock up to church. Their parents are pastors and ministers, and they have to also protect that image, and that can be more detrimental than if everyone knew that, look, things are not so right, and let me draw close to this young boy because I know that what is going on between both parents, and they need that support. Right? So right under our very eyes in the church, there are young people who are suffering and feeling pain that we don't really realize because we think their families and their households have it all together. Now, the other side of the coin is, when we decide to do the work of the Lord, I believe that the enemy is after that home.
Sure, fight.
The enemy is going to come whichever avenue he can use, and wherever there's like a loophole, it can just be a suggestion, so we can take our sons to church, to Sunday school, we can read, we can pray, we can do all these things with them. But at the end of the day, all it takes is for the enemy to make a suggestion within their mind. All it takes is for the enemy to arrange for, bad influences just come into their class. And before you know it, the father is at work trying to, ends meet.
Yes.
Mother is at work also trying to make ends meet. And before you know it, the enemy is there trying to take this child away from their divine calling. So there are two sides. One, in terms of some households are not as perfect as they appear to be. And also their external influence as well, that the enemy has sent an assignment to derail the lives of some of these young boys.
So,
Very true. Very true. Yeah, we know that.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
As the word says, bad company corrupts good manners.
Good manners.
You see, so the enemy would send some bad company, and as Minister Kirk said, especially in the area of the school. Children spend a lot of time in the school environment, so that's one of the platform that the enemy sort of tends to use to bring friends that will make it seem to them like they're missing out a lot of things. In the other world, they just living all these Christian or happy-go-lucky, as they will call it, life, but they don't know what they're missing out. And out of curiosity, and out of peer pressure, the kids, or that come from godly home, and this time it may be like the parents are living peacefully, but because of this kind of experience, they then get lured into, this lifestyle, sadly. So, like Mr. Kirk said, there are sort of a lot of factors when it comes to why things would occur this way.
Well, thank you. Thank you. There is this question I want to ask. If a group of Black boys could create a superhero team to fight against the pressure of gang life, what power would they have? Superhero team to fight against the pressure of gang life. That now that we've had enough, I don't want to be in gang anymore. I just want to come out, live a normal life, be myself,
I'd say the
What power would they have?
The power to instill hope.
Yeah,
I think that would be the greatest one, because I think hope is so powerful. Hope that you can get out of it and you can survive. Hope that you can build a family. Hope that you can be successful. Because for me, one of the things that I experienced even in my own journey into employment is that I for example, I studied operations management, and also I did procurement at university. And then I've been for jobs in the procurement sector where, I've been ridiculed in interviews, where I come out and I feel as if I don't even want to go to another job interview. And I believe that those were undertones of prejudice and discrimination. And, those type of things can take away your hope. It can make you feel as if, I can't succeed in this setting. I'm not good enough for this setting. I've been in classrooms where, in sixth form, where the teacher tell me, look, biology, chemistry is not for you.
Wow.
You should go and do sports science like the other youngsters from your community. And that was a teacher who actually said that to me in sixth form. Now that can take away hope from a child or from a young person. So if a superpower is able to instill that hope, I think that would go a long way with helping young people to get their lives back on track.
I think that's a very good one, because I realize that most teachers, instead of them to encourage younger ones to say, I know you're striving, because it's students, especially A level, because I've seen this happen to someone closer to me. They say, oh, you can't do what you say you want to do. Just go for something else, like what you said. They're pulling that person up down as if he hasn't gotten.
Yeah.
Because you see, apart from even a child coming from a broken home, what the society, I think what the society contributes a lot as well.
Yeah.
To all these people thinking that, I don't really want it. In our own time, they don't really join the gang. I wouldn't say there is no gang in our own time. They call it, they call it court in the university. You know, you ain't going to the court and all those stuff.
Yeah, court. Yeah.
But when we now talk about gang, the gang both in school, both in the community, you know, in the world we're living now. You see, now in school, a teacher is telling somebody that you said, okay, I want to go and study medicine. And because that person is not doing really well, you say, oh, medicine is not for you in the presence of the classroom. You understand? That will bring that guy down.
Yeah.
And said, you know what, I think they've already said I don't want it. And now God help the parents, because that's another thing the parents comes in now. When a teacher said to a child in his class, in the presence of his or her mate, they said, oh, you can't do it. They pull that child down. And now the child get home. And instead of the parent to say, you know what, that is their home. I can see this potential in you. You can do, you are a good person. You can do, you have the intelligence. I think that will help the child not to think otherwise. But now the child coming home and said, because I don't know what your parents said to you, Kellen. But what happens is that when that child get home and the parent now said to the students and said, yeah, your teacher is right, you know. The friend will now say to him or her and say, you know what, they don't like you. Just come and join us. You're going to be happy.
Yeah, this is where...
Because that's another... I know you've mentioned peer pressure when we started this discussion. That's where peer pressure comes in. Because they say, oh, they're not good out there. They're not good enough. We're going to take care of you. We're going to look after you. And I think that is one of the things as well. That
so there'll be acceptance.
Yeah, go ahead, Isaac. Go ahead. So you want to say...
just saying, this is where Moses' big brother Aaron's gift really comes into handy.
Yeah.
Because remember when Moses said that, you know, I can't speak. And then the Lord said that I'll send your brother Aaron to be your spokesman. If someone has the gift of speech, that means that will come also with the gift of, you know, persuasiveness. If someone has that gift, this is the point where it actually comes into handy, right? And also the gift of empathy. Remember, our Lord Jesus Christ himself has that gift. He became a human. He took on the form of a human. And so he went through all the challenges that we went through as a human, as a human being. So in the same way, if the person has the superpower to be able to see things exactly from where that young person is seeing or experiencing, that would help a lot in terms of how they can then address the issue that, you know, they're going through individually. So if the person has the power to be able to step into their shoes and see exactly what they're going through in that way, because, you know, it's just like diagnosis. If you can diagnose exactly what the person is going through in terms of medically speaking, then you'll be able to prescribe them the right medication, right, for them to get well.
True.
So you know, the Lord himself is able to understand us very much as humans, because he took on the form and is still in a glorified way in the form of a human. So he understands all the challenges that we go through. And in that way, he's able to relate to us and is able to basically answer our needs according to how we need it and, you know, what we need. I hope I'm making sense here.
Yeah. I want to, something is coming to my mind. So do you think if we have empathy on these young guys, when we show them love, when we show them empathy, do you think that will encourage them to have another turn of good life? Yeah.
That would definitely encourage them. Because even in First Corinthians, remember that it was mentioned that it's faith, hope, and love, and then out of them all, love is the strongest.
Yeah.
So definitely, if we have love to counter what they are going through, that is what will bring out their, vulnerability. That's what it will make them to sort of be more open to us and be vulnerable before us. And in that way, we will then be able to help them stand on their feet. So definitely love is the way. No wonder the Lord himself will say, love your enemies. How can we love people that are seeking to harm us, people that hate us? But because he knows love is the best tool to overcome, that's why he says we should approach it that way. He says, repay evil with evil, but repay evil with good.
Good.
It's also another way of demonstrating love. Because two wrongs cannot bring right. So
Sure.
if we approach the way of love, then that's what would help us to get the results that we're looking for.
Wow, you know what? That resonates with me as well. Because you mentioned about being able to see what the problems are as the power. I mean, that is very profound, because that's like almost like a heightened level of discernment. We're able to understand the person's background, what they're thinking, their state of mind. And you're right there in the sense that, do you really know what my struggle is? Do you really know what my pain is? Do you really know what happened to me? Do you know how it made me feel? How can you come and tell me to just put that all behind me and move on when you don't know where I've been?
Sure.
Yeah. You weren't the one who where your brother got stabbed or your uncle got stabbed by this rival gang. You're not the one who lost your parents due to gang-related feud. You're not the one who experienced physical abuse when you were younger by one of your parents, your mom or your dad. You're not the one who grew up in an household where people were addicted to drugs. So how can we really say that we know how this person feels?
Exactly. And that was the Lord himself. He knew exactly what we were going through because he's been there before. And because of that, he's able to deal with us just the way we need to be dealt with in the current situation we find ourselves in. You see, and if you've noticed, most of these gang leaders that have taken a turn, like a U-turn, they're able to get a lot of these young people that are in that environment to take that U-turn as well, because they understand you've been there before. You see, it makes sense because they've been through it and they're able to see things from their perspective.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for that contribution.